ghosts, UFOs, monsters, Mothman, Chupacabra, the Mandela effect. This and more you will find at the Fringe feature movie hour. All this and more at the Fringe feature movie hour. I will try to scare the pants off of you. Enjoy. Good night. Hello, folks. This is the Fringe feature movie hour with Ted, of course. He's over here today. I can't really have him in the picture today. I apologize for that. I know you guys love seeing him, but yeah, it's been one hell of a month, and I'm just trying to get by. That's about it. But tonight on the Fringe feature movie hour, I decided I'm going to finish my ghost stories up. I guess the first place to start would be probably in Brockport. When I used to live in Brockport, New York, I used to have to travel to work a lot. And I used to have to walk to work, and every so often I'd run into what I feel was maybe the town's long past specter. I used to run into this old man a lot, every so often. And the first time, it was sort of like a chase. I would sort of like see him, and he'd walk down the street, and I kind of felt something was off about him, you know, so I just chased him down the street. And this was like, mind you, 5 or 6 in the morning. I used to like, not chase him, running chase, but I used to like kind of follow him to see where he was going. You know, this old man in the middle of on the sidewalks in the middle of the night. Actually, it's early morning, walking around. Same guy, and he kind of gave me this weird look. And then he'd walk, and he seems like he'd disappear into this one shop inside, and this is all in Brockport, New York. In this house or shop, I think it's I can't remember what it was. If it was like a little mini cafe or like a record shop or something, but I don't think it was open. It was kind of hard to tell what kind of hours it was in there, but you know, it just seemed to. I think when he went in there, there's never anybody in there when he went, except for this one time. This completely happened. This happened for like 2 or 3 times. I'd follow him in there. I'd be curious, and he'd elude me, and I'd get really close, and he'd disappear again. One time, he crossed the street like he was getting out of a limo, and he, I don't know, he might have been like might have been the town. The name of the guy, his name was, I think his name was Seymour, because I think he was the name of or something like that. That was the name of the founder of the town. It might even have been him for all I knew. But, and I followed him down there. He gave me this dirty ass look, like he was Scrooge or something, and he walked across the street, you know, right in front of me, and then, sorry about that, and then he walked down the sidewalk, and this time he disappeared into the shop. But there seemed to be a guy that looked a lot like him. Maybe this was his relative brother, but he would always take this path, and this time he'd end up into the shop. You know, he went into the shop where this guy looked a lot like him. I don't know what the deal with this person was, or ghost, or whatever it was, but that's what he do to me when I was there. I mean, when I walked to work. There was this one time, I don't know, it might have been the day of, I think it was a big festival in the town. I'm not sure if this was a human or a ghost either, but I saw this girl. She had, I still haven't seen anything like this to this day. She had on like this really old-fashioned green dress, and she ran across the street, and she was so excited, and she was carrying this white spiral thing in her hand, and she seemed to be really happy, and she looked right at me, you know, for some reason, and then she just walked across the street. There did happen to be a floral shop over there. I don't know if she was part of the floral shop, or if she was, you know, basically one of, you know, the town's, you know, spirits or whatever. I have no idea, but, you know, she definitely looked out of place for the town, I mean, and for our time, you know. You don't see dresses like that unless she was like a reenactor or something. It was kind of strange, you know. But as far as that town goes, I mean, I didn't really have any more encounters in that town. My cousin, however, I guess he lived near one of the graveyards in the town. And he told me there was all sorts of activity that went on in there. Like, he'd see, like, you know, I guess the witches would have, like, their rituals, I guess, in the graveyards. And he claimed to have seen a specter or whatever come right up to him, a woman, and talk to him. And I guess one time my father was over there, and the doors were opening and closing by themselves, which I kind of don't believe it, but maybe it is true, because I was there. I spent the night a few days, and I didn't have anything happen to me in that area. I don't know, maybe they didn't like me or something. I have no idea, but that's what he encountered, and I didn't really encounter anything in the town, except for one time I was taking a shower when I lived at my parents', and I heard a knock on the door, and I got kind of scared, and I opened the door, and there's like nobody there at all. My sister said maybe it was one of her friends that maybe came in and was looking for her, but I don't know. I'm not so sure. I mean, I have no idea. It was kind of spooky. I guess I really didn't experience anything until many years later, when I eventually I got what do you call that? I got fired from my job where I worked there. I worked in a warehouse, and I got fired from there for mainly being a jackass at the time. I mean, and I did a few things that I'm not proud of back then, but it is what it is. You're young, and you're crazy, and you're dumb, and you have emotional problems, so you do crazy stuff sometimes on the job, I guess, or at least I did. I'm glad I'm not like that anymore, but I eventually lost my job, and I got somehow ended up at my grandmother's again, which is kind of crazy, since that's when I had all those horrible situations. But nothing really. It seemed like after I kicked the spirit's ass, that one time, that they didn't really fuck with me, or they were gone altogether, because I had only one real thing happened to me there, and that was, actually two things. One thing is, I was staring up the ceiling once, and I saw this snake thing go. It looked like it was all weird looking on the ceiling. It was really strange, but I don't know what it was. But before I left, her house, Grandma was kind of acting kind of strange. See, I had my lights on in the bedroom. I'd stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning, but she used to come in there into my room and get angry at me and thought I was playing tricks on her, or I had the lights on or something, but she thought I was shining the lights on her or something, or playing in some kind of game, and I wasn't. I did have my bedroom light on, but I guess towards the end of her life, she had some really strange paranormal things happen to her or something, because I guess she, either that or the next door neighbor was tormenting her, I don't know, but she used to get mad at me and I didn't do anything to her. I left her alone. I come to find out, I guess she was kind of, I don't know, seeing the other side before she died, and she saw phantom lights and she saw people that weren't there and stuff like that. My mom wrote it all down, and she kind of saw all this other side stuff, which I pray to God never happens to me when I get to her age and I'm about to die, because what she experienced was beyond insane. She would see people from like the 1900s make smiley faces at her, and she'd see babies, a baby in places in the house. She would see people floating outside near the telephone pole. I mean, and she'd have people jump into bed with her, and all sorts of crazy shit. You imagine that kind of circus, having all these fuckers just converge on you and just fuck with you? God help me if I have to deal with that. I'm glad I believe in this stuff already. They said the reason why it happened was they're trying to prepare her for the other side, but I don't know. That was just an insane kind of circus, if you ask me. It's pretty insane. Well, anyways, after redeeming myself, and I managed to get lucky, and I transferred back to Rochester where I was living, and I was able, and I ran into some real screwed up problems. Well, before all that happened, this is kind of bizarre, but I would have dreams all the time about being in the middle of the night and running to this house. I was in the middle of nowhere, and I would be climbing. I'd go into the house, and I'd be climbing this like spiral or these staircases up to the attic. And when I first entered this apartment in Rochester where I wanted to live, basically, it was like deja vu. It was, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's like I was there before, because it was the exact same attic that I seen in the dream, which is really, really crazy. I've never experienced anything like that before. It was beyond nuts. And basically, so eventually, sorry about the pause. I thought I had some visitors. Not the kind you would want. Nothing supernatural, but these are the kind of visitors you don't want to ever see. They're not people, I'll just put it that way. Well, anyways, getting back to the story. What was I talking about? I eventually got the apartment, which was pretty freaking, that place was bizarre, to say the least, but it was a nice place to live. And basically, I had some really nutty shit happen to me there. First off, it was my first day. It was like the day before I started my new job at Walmart, and I'm about ready to go to bed. and I closed my bedroom door, and I heard a big slamming noise, sort of like the end of this video, my intro and my exit music with the Fringe movie hour, where you hear that big door slamming. Imagine hearing that, but like 5 or 10 times louder, and it was really freaking loud. It was pretty terrifying. I mean, it scared the shit out of me, to say the least, because imagine closing your door and you hear a big bam. I think that was the house's way of messing with me, or maybe initiating me. I don't know, but it it then it didn't get any better. I mean, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, but well, anyways, I got to know the neighbor downstairs. She's a really nice lady, one of the nicest people you ever meet. She was a really old German lady. I can't remember her name. It's been so long, but she ended up giving me a TV. So we got to be friends. I used to talk to her, and her son helped me move it up with a dolly, and we got it up there. But unfortunately, I'll tell you the story about that in a bit. But basically, I wasn't able to move it due to not having a dolly to take it down. But it was a great TV. I really liked it. It got me by one of them really good TVs, old fashioned. Well, I got to know her, and basically, she told me that when I was that she used to hear somebody bounce a basketball upstairs. I said, when did this happen? She said, when I was gone from work. She said, no, before you even came. So I got like some chills now thinking about it. But freaking freaking a kid was up there or something with a basketball. It was kind of weird, because I kind of got some psychic powers from this a little bit, or it kind of runs in my family. I could be a medium, I guess, if I wanted to, but I really don't care to talk to the dead. I mean, I have enough problems with living. Dealing with the dead is not my cup of tea, and I leave it to my friends like Chris George, psychic medium, and others who do that stuff. God help, God bless them. They can handle that part of the business. I'll stay with this being a storyteller and experiencer. I couldn't imagine dealing with that, but I guess he said it was natural for him. Chris George did when I asked him the other day, what was it like, first experiencing talking to the dead, and he said it felt naturally. I believe he said, to me, naturally to him, maybe not to us. I mean, even though I talked to some of them, I mean, most of my experiences have always been negative, so it's like, better him than me. I'll just leave that up to him. That's not the kind of gift I want. I mean, he enjoys that, and my gifts are other things. But anyways, she was a really nice person. I think her name was like Helga, or I'm trying to think, it's been so long, but she was like really, really German. I mean, she could have been, I think she was during, she might have been, for all I know, her family been part of the Nazi party, or she experienced it, I don't know, but I talked to her about the Zeppelins in Germany, and she told me about them. And a little side story here, I was watching a show on the History Channel, or one of them, and they're saying that people are afraid of helium, but it really isn't that dangerous the way people think it is. And I think it was helium which filled up the Hindenburg. I don't know what set it off or whatnot. It could have been a false flag event for all we know, but to ruin the Zeppelin business, who knows in this world. But according to what I heard, helium isn't dangerous, like they say it is. But after the Hindenburg happened with their Zeppelins, the whole world changed their mind about the use of helium, and I think it was H3. I can't remember what it was, but and that's when we went from blimps or Zeppelins to planes or whatever. I think we still use blimps today, which is kind of weird since everybody's got that fear of helium. I don't know. Who knows? It's all politics and a bunch of bullshit. These politicians and schemers, wheelers, and dealers deal with on a daily basis. They like to spin us lines on what's true and what's not true, and yeah, what do I know about stuff, myself? But I eventually, after a few weeks or months, I started smelling this really horrid smell in the hallway. I don't exactly know how it went down, but or how she died. I mean, but first of all, I found out she was sick. I smelled something worse than death. It could have been her dying. I'm suspecting it had to be her dying. My girlfriend thinks maybe she was sick and it caused the smell for her being sick, but I mean, it was a smell worse than anything I've ever smelled in my entire life in that hallway. So I'm thinking it had to be her dying, but I think they rushed to the hospital. And then it was it was kind of strange. I didn't see her. Then like a week or two later, they're at the house with, I think it's with, if I remember correctly, with the ambulance. And they take her out of there with a stretcher, I believe, and she was dead. I don't know exactly what was going on with that situation, but I think I was able to say goodbye to her son or whatever. I can't remember, but she was a really nice lady, and it's too bad she passed, but we all gotta go on this horrible planet. That's the way it goes, But eventually, it was kind of lonely out there eventually, but a few weeks to a month later, a religious couple, moved in. They're like in their 20s, and they moved in downstairs and took it over and got a little lively again. But before all that, a friend of our family, I forgot to mention, this is kind of relevant to the story, but a few years prior to that, a year or two, maybe even that year or a year before, a friend of my parents' family, his name is Jim, he, if you ever watch the show X-Men, there's these things called Widowmakers, and if you cut them, they can backlash you and make you fall off a tree and kill you. But I don't know, he seemed to think he wanted to remove this Widowmaker and cut parts of the tree from a friend of his house. He went up there and he made really morbid comments about death, like he knew he was going to die that day or something, from what I heard from what my dad was saying. And he climbed the tree, and I guess he cut one of them Widowmakers. The backlash killed him on the spot, and he was dead before he hit the ground. And well, anyways, I'd have these visions every so often when I was in that place. I think it was because I read James Van Prague's book, and he said that well, I'll get back to that later. Hold on to that thought with James Van Prague. Well, anyways, I kept on seeing all these visions in my third eye, and I couldn't really figure it out. I saw this vision of this kid, and maybe the kid that was bouncing the ball. He's short, he has short black hair, and I saw him, and he looked like he had old, clothes on in my third eye. And and one day I saw Jim. It was really, he looked, it was him already. He looked really upset. I and like he was really depressed that he was dead. I saw him and he didn't look happy at all. You know, I couldn't figure out why all that stuff was happening to me at that place because I've never seen the dead in my third eye before, and I haven't since. Well, actually, it happened to me one time after. I'll tell you that story after, which is really bizarre. But that was the last time it's ever happened, thank God. Well, anyways, I couldn't make out why that happened, and mind you, my job was to work overnights, and I should be thankful I didn't have to stay in that place, overnights a lot. And then I worked the overnights because that place was a little creepy. But I'm a veteran of the paranormal, so I was able to handle it. But there was one instance where I was sleeping. I mean, first year I lived there, I was sleeping in my room, which I often did, and everybody sleeps in their bedroom, dumbass. Well, I eventually got a futon, and I eventually slept the in the living room in the futon. But before then, this is how poor I was. I was like a regular Davy Crockett back then. I used to sleep on an air mattress on the floor, and it was pretty crazy. I think I had all sorts of weird crap happen to me. Like, I think there's one time a mouse was trying to get in, and I kept on hearing this noise, and then one day he was trying to get in through the heater, I think. And one day I just saw blood. It got on the carpets. I think it just might have just exploded for being in the heater. I don't know. It was really bizarre. Never seen anything like that before. It was kind of weird. Unfortunately, I'm having deja vu again, and I'm living in an old house, and I have to deal with these bastards all over again, which is not making me happy. I mean, I thought I blocked out all their hiding spaces, but they're back, and unfortunately, I'd rather deal with the paranormal than to deal with those bastards. But not much you can do about it right now. I'm trying to, if they don't kill me, or put me in an early grave, I'll be lucky, I guess. But but anyways, it's in the summertime. I think it was like the first month or two I lived there. I came home for overnights because I used to work at Walmart at a time, and I just went to bed, and I guess my girlfriend and son needed me for some reason, and whatever they did, they could not get me up. It's almost like something paranormal, like the incident I talked about last week that blocked off the sound. It blocked me off from them hearing me. No matter what they did, I could not hear them. So either I was in a deep sleep or something was blocking the noise away from me. And then after they came in, livid, they left, they got what they needed, and I went back to bed. And so I was exhausted. And I swear to God, I felt something punch me right in the gut while I was sleeping. It was really screwed up. Seems like everybody doesn't like a piece of G video, Everybody wants a piece of G video 34, Well, they can come and get me, The offer always stands, If they want a piece of me, come and get some. That's all I gotta say, It's not like they're not trying every day, Got archons and ghosts and, what else can I say? And spookies. Oh my. Nah, just joking. Well, anyways, Yeah, so it's life, I guess. A fast lane when you have to be forced to be dealing with all these evil issues. It's the way it goes. It's the way it is. I guess somebody's got it's a dirty job, and somebody's got to do it, and it's got. I was born to do this horrible job of dealing with all sorts of horrible things on the planet. That's my job. I guess I'm like the world janitor. I got to deal with this spiritual crap and all sorts of horrible stuff. At least a plumber gets paid to flush out his garbage. I don't even get paid for this gig for taking all this abuse. I hope one day I do, because it's ridiculous. If you're gonna put me through this much hell, at least give me something out of the deal. I don't get shit, but maybe one day, hopefully. I'm gonna say this right to you, baddies and ghosties and all that. The check's in the mail. You better deposit it. That's all I gotta say. Better send one back too, because I need one. I'm a starving artist over here. Okay, enough of my nonsense. Yeah, it's almost like the dream was a warning, basically. That you're gonna go through a living hell with this house. And boy did I. I think I might even brought something back with me too. I mean, a friend of mine years later, that I met like years later after all this incident, told me that maybe I brought back a demon with me, which is possible. I could have. You never know. Well, I told him, my situation, because I'll tell you more about the place. Say, oh, good God. I'm like, or he's like, good God, you could have brought back a demon from this incident. I'm like, I know. It's like, it's my lot in life, like C-3PO says. That's the way it goes. At least Ted's still holding up strong. Check him out. See? He's got a pulse. He's still going. He's going stronger than I am. Maybe we'll both make it out of this alive together. Well, anyway. Yeah, that's my situation so far with that place. And I also talked to my sister's boyfriend, and he told me some stuff about that place too. Well, I gotta unleash the biggest bomb on you guys, pretty much, so I can tell you the rest of the info, why my friend on Facebook said what he said, and why my sister's boyfriend said what they said. Well, anyways, one day I used to hang out with this my coworker, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. His name is Gary. I don't know if I should say his last name, but he's one crazy son of a bitch, and I love him. I mean, he used to do this thing he still does probably with Dora, and he used to make her talk and drive, and stuff like that. He's right up a guy's alley like me. I'm crazy, he's crazy, we're meant for each other. Well, anyways, we used to hang out, and every like Monday morning, it was our ritual to go to the Hill and Family. It was called the Hill and Family Restaurant at the time, because I lived in that town. And well, anyways, basically, we were just eating one day, and I basically saw this. I'm a curious sort of fellow, and I love history and all that stuff. So it's like I decided there was this house next door to me at the time. It's a historical site. I decided to ask the old man. And I used to talk to her every morning. When I went there to the family restaurant, I used to ask him, he said, but where do you live? And I began to tell him my address. I can't even remember. I think I do remember, but I don't want to, maybe I should expose him, but I won't, because my landlord is a total douchebag, because he never told me this, bastard. Oh, he said, I don't know about that historical site, but that place where you're living now, that you told me the address about, that place used to be a funeral home. And boy, if I didn't turn like 3 shades of white. I was so green. A plague or a bomb, or or whatever, couldn't be worse than the way I felt or looked. I just was in total horror. I mean, I literally did not want to. I did not want to be in that place. I asked them where they kept the bodies at, and I'm like, tell me it's not where I was because I lived upstairs. And he's like, no, they kept it downstairs. I'm like, oh, thank you. I think the family lives upstairs, thank God. I was so relieved, but still, I mean, just the fact of living in a funeral home, just, I think that's why I went downhill and did some of the stuff I did in the future, because that just, that ruined my life going forward. I mean, it made me feel all sorts of horrible. I won't lie to you. It was bad. Knowing that I lived in a place like that. I went home and I didn't even want to open the door. I just thought, I was like terrified. I'm like, oh my God. Somehow I managed to get as much courage as I could, and I ran up to my apartment and I went to bed for the night. It wasn't easy. I just had these images of dead bodies and everything else. It was terrible. I gotta admit, I was terrified, and I think from there on in, I just, being in that place I was trapped in that place because I was so poor. Sort of like I'm trapped in this horrible place I am now. I mean, money, these politicians and everything, they go sucking ass because they force you to live in these horrible situations because you're too poor to afford anything else. So I had to deal with that. Pretty much. I had to think about what everything was about, or think about what happened. And one day I actually confronted his son, about it, and I told him what I knew, and he said, oh yeah, we used to, I think he said we put signs up there in front of it and had their pictures taken and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, lovely. I'm like, that's always great. Yeah, I said to myself. I'm like, oh, I think eventually, I went on for a while in that place. Well, I told you now you know why my friend from Facebook recoiled when he found out that I lived in a funeral home, because it's just like, I think he said it happened to him too, and it was just like horrible, and you can literally get a demon from that stuff. Well, anyways, I learned from James Van Prague that a funeral home, from what he said, has like a certain portal or a light to it where the dead come in and they can be saved and brought to the other side or something. I think that's the reason why I was having those visions about the dead people, because I was basically at the portal. I was at, death's portal door there, and I was able to see the dead people and stuff. And happy, happy, joy, joy, right? Not so much, I didn't really see any more people after that. Just those two. Just the old friend and the little boy. But I did, at night, one time, I thought I heard like children's voices and stuff. They also told me, the old man, I believe, also told me there was a huge fire in the town that like killed people as well. It was a real, I mean, you gotta search your town sometimes. There's some real Hollywood movie action going on in some of your towns. You gotta really check them out, because like in this town, it was popping and locking, as you can see. It had a lot of history to it, and all I wanted to do was find out a little bit of it, and I got terrified. My Just crazy. You know, it's crazy in that house. Like I said, things went downhill. Especially, I had mice problems. Though I found out. I mean, being the dumbass I am, the landlord decides to give me mouse traps. I didn't know how to set them at the time, and I just put peanut butter on them or cheese, and the mouse came and ate them. I didn't even set them right. Man, that's so horrible. I know how to do it now. A guy at the bus stop showed me, but before I didn't know how to set them. So well prepared now, but not good. Not too good at stewing me because the mouse always avoids them and he goes somewhere else and never gets caught in the trap. So the traps aren't doing me any good. They might have did me good if I was able to set them then. Yeah, you deal with a lot of shit when they're on their own. Ghosts, goblins, aliens, archons, mice, you name it. Funeral homes. I was going back to what my sister's boyfriend used to tell me. His name's Chris. He asked me, we brought up on the subject one day. My dad told me about the history of that house. He heard in the 90s that a famous place in Hill, I think it was in Hill, New York, where I lived at the time, was, a funeral home that went to jail. I believe it was my landlord's father. Must be kind of like a really sensitive subject in that house because, I shouldn't have brought it up to the son, but, I had to know. I mean, since the landlord didn't have the stones enough to tell me, I mean, it should have been his responsibility to tell me that was a funeral home. That's just nasty. I mean, seeing that I'm a sensitive person to that stuff, it would have been nice to know so I could have prepared somehow, said prayers, whatever, something. At least I'd go in, with some angels or God's love, Jesus Christ, whatever, going into a funeral home, whatever. I mean, maybe it was better off I didn't learn it until like a way while later, but still, I mean, the fact that I was in a place like that, I mean, I handled just about anything. I handled the sense of death, as you noticed, and everything else, but I don't know, I guess what broke me was the fact that it was a funeral home. I mean, it's kind of fitting for a guy like me, dealing with the dead and ghosts and goblins and archons and angels or aliens, I mean, whatever, that I end up in a place like this, which is kind of ironic for a guy like me, eventually ending up in a crazy effed up place. And what other crazy fucked up place is life gonna put me in? I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, I was put in all these haunted houses. I got fucking molested, and raped, and everything else in these places. I mean, somebody really fucking hates me out there. Seriously. I mean, I am the center of like the hate of all these fuckers. But like I just found out, I mean, my family line was the bad guy, and the bad guys treat their own like shit. So I'm getting the blunt of all this bullshit because my family decided to be cocksuckers and decided to screw over humanity for the almighty buck or something. So I'm suffering all the fucking consequences while they're having a good time Charlie's, as my girlfriend would say, having a good fucking joyride while I'm taking all the fucking repercussions for it all. Must be fucking nice, to reap all the benefits and I reap all the fucking karma from it. Cocksuckers. I guess, hope they get theirs. That's all I gotta say. I gotta fucking put up with their bullshit. It's just not fucking right. I'm just a guy. I'm just trying to get by. I'm a pretty decent dude. I mean, I have my problems, but I don't deserve all this bullshit I've been through. I mean, I don't care if my family line made a deal with the devil or whatever. It's not my fucking business. I don't give a fuck. Why should I get involved with the devil's business when I tell the devil to go to hell, you know? I don't know, but if I gotta deal with it, I own it. That's what I gotta do, and not much I can do about it. Well, anyway, sorry about the tangent. Basically, the bottom line is the asshole landlord, his father, went to jail for basically putting wrong body parts. I think a whole bunch of shit he did. I think he stole body parts and mixed and matched them and sold them on black markets or something like that, or he did some really crazy shit with the dead body. All I know is them dead people were really fucking pissed off there when I lived there. I mean, they weren't happy about it. It seemed like they were pissed off, so I mean, Chris asked me, he's like, did the ground look like it was, had craters on it? And sure enough, it fucking did. And had so many craters in the attic that it wasn't even fucking funny. He told me the reason why that is maybe there could be dead bodies still in the house. They might have buried them in the fucking attic. That might be the formaldehyde seeping out. Who the hell knows? I mean, with that guy. All I know is he's behind bars right now from what I hear. I don't know what the hell's going on. And, you're gonna love this shit. The son right now, he's selling the property still. He's still running the fucking shit out, even though I talked to his son about, I talked to the landlord's son about this, and I was probably the only person that knew about it being a funeral home. And then he's knowing that he knows that it's a funeral home. He's charging people. He charged me like 400 something. He jacked it up to 600 for people to live in a den of deadness. I love that the fucker jacks it up to $600, and it's like a fucking funeral home. Some people have no shame. I mean, who knows? For all we know, he could have been a part of the whole situation, and he didn't go to jail, of course. His father did, but I'm sure he was probably a fucking accomplice. He seems like a fucking underhanded fuck, I thought he was a nice southern guy, but, I mean, he had kind of probably a fake accent. He sounded like he was southern, but he probably had that fake accent like Can Repeat does, The other, my character, I mean. But, I wouldn't be surprised if he was shady. He really pissed me off sometimes. To take a small tangent. I used to work overnights, like I told you, and the fucker would be pounding on my door at 10 or 11 in the morning if I was late on my rent one time. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, he doesn't let a fucking guy sleep. He's got to be pounding on my goddamn door for rent money. I mean, give me a break here. I mean, it's not like I didn't have it. Sometimes when you work overnights, you don't have the advantages of the rest of the world, You gotta sleep and shit. And he didn't give a fuck. But, I kind of got even with the guy. Well, not on purpose. I wasn't doing it to be spiteful. Well, some of it I had no choice to do. I was so poor that the first winter I lived there, probably both winters, I'm so horrible. I couldn't afford to pay the heat because at the time my girlfriend lost her job, and I was helping her keep her car and everything else, and she lost her job and everything. And we were struggling, and I couldn't afford to pay heat, so I took a box heater and just put it there with me in my bedroom, and I fucking just heated up the bedroom, and that's probably how the mice got in, and I just let the place go to hell. I mean, probably pipes broke, and I wasn't being an asshole about it, but or trying to be, but when they don't give you any money, I mean, and then he has the nerve to make a smart-ass comment, maybe I shouldn't, be having an apartment if I can afford it. Well, maybe I shouldn't fucking occupy space on this planet. I mean, it's not my fucking fault. These fucking archons and these fucking people made it a fucking rule that you have to have money to survive on this planet. I mean, it's my fucking fault. I can't afford to have a place because these fuckers don't want to pay you anything to live there. I mean, fucking, take it out of me now. Do my fucking parents and the baby boomers, they had everything handed to them. I can't afford a lousy apartment barely, and because I'm helping out my old lady, and he's up in my ass saying maybe I shouldn't have an apartment. Well, I should have told him, why don't you just fucking take me out right now? Just fucking shoot me right in the brain, because, you gotta pay to live on this fucking horrible planet. I mean, have some fucking compassion, you fucking grave digging, body part selling cocksucker. I mean, that's what I want. I should have told his ass, you know. Probably shady fuck. He's probably only like 10 or 20. He's probably like 10 or something years old when his went down and his crook of a fucking father did all this shit. But I'm sure, like I said, the fucker is just as big as accomplice, probably. I know it's bad accusations to say, but goddamn it, he pissed me off with some of the shit he said, and I'm just pissed about it, But what are you gonna do? Some of it's my fault too, and I kind of got revenge on him a little bit. Besides the pipes, I mean, I I wasn't trying to get revenge on the guy. I mean, it's not like I was going out of my way to get revenge on him. It's just I had no means since the downstairs lady's son left, and I had no way of getting that TV downstairs. I was poor because I ended up losing my job because I made a mistake at my job and I did something horrible. Maybe I was prompted to do this horrible thing because of this horrible fucking place I lived in. I'm thinking it had a lot to do with it, but I just said screw it, and I did what I did, and I moved and I left the TV up there. I mean, he won't even talk to me in town when I basically visit the town, which is okay with me. I mean, he's probably a miserable accomplice to a fucking grave robbing bastard, but and I'm the bad guy, but let's fucking throw stones at each other, fucker. Well, anyways, he won't talk to me or anything. It's okay with me, it's like it is what it is, and then he can go around and sell his fucking dirty ass fucking apartment building, fucking funeral home. Still has fucking cracks from when his fucking father did the shady shit he did, but let's go and fucking run it out to people in that fucking state, you fucking sick bastard. Yeah, let's go and do that. Yeah, that's fucking smart. Yeah, it's just fucking lovely. Oh, sorry about the rant, guys. Sorry for getting angry. It's just a bad memory of my life, and it was horrible, and, it's the way it goes. I also had some other experiences in that house, but I will save that for the topic that it goes with, and this ain't a topic of that to talk about, so I'll get into that at a later time, maybe next week, or basically, or the week after. I don't know, but basically, that's how that went down in the house. I believe that's everything that I can think of. Basically that went down in the house. I eventually lost my job and I moved with my parents, and I had some really shitty experiences at my parents' house and where I live now in the city of Niagara Falls. That place wasn't even fucking better. That place might as well have been a fucking funeral home because I had some really horrible experiences in that place. It was about as bad as when I lived in my grandmother's house. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with Niagara Falls? They like to rape fucking, like George Carlin would say, rape fucking fondle your ass. I mean, in that place, these fucking spirits did, and I won't lie to you, I wasn't proud of what the thing I did at Walmart when I was there, and I was in a really horrible state of my life, and I was really depressed, and it brought me, I guess my state of mind made me susceptible to the other side, to the spirit side of, paranormal side, I guess. And at first, thing I saw, believe it or not, was I kept on seeing this man across the street from where we lived, and he looked like Carlo. He's a black man. He looked just like Carl Winslow, and I thought for like the longest time he lived in that apartment. He lived in that house. It turned out to be this old Italian guy. And one day I was out there shoveling, and I saw this dude, and the Carl Winslow looking guy, heavy set Carl Winslow, dude, black dude, and he, not to be racist, but that's what he was. And he basically looked at me with these sickly eyes, like something's about to go down. And he was right near the old Italian guy. I thought they were friends or neighbors or something, or he lived there. I was really confused about what was going down with that situation. To this day, I think the man was some kind of spirit, because he eventually went away, and I talked to my mom about it, and it's like, oh no, it's the old Italian guy that was there. I'm like, well, damn it, I saw the other guy across the street. My cousin he lived with us, and he was waving to the guy across the street. I thought he was waving to the Carl Winslow guy. It turned out he was waving to the Italian guy. He asked him if he needed help with anything. So that's how effed up was that. I actually seen somebody that was there that wasn't there, and that's kind of stuff that happens, when you're in a horrible state of mind. It didn't get better. I mean, I had that futon I was telling you about, that I assembled it in this room in the house, and it was a really bad room. What made it bad is, it's like, when you're in this room, you never felt alone. I mean, you always felt somebody was with you, and that's how it felt when I was in this room. It was like really horrible. You remember hearing about or watching that movie, The Haunting in Connecticut, where the kid eventually got consumed by the spirit in the house? Well, that kind of happened to me after a while. It's like this living in this room. I mean, my family member, when you live in there, because when they told me later on, of course, after the fact, that they used to get their arm grabbed, and basically, as if, basically being woke up by this woman. Believe it or not, I think this woman, or whatever the hell, or something else, had followed me to my current place, because just recently I felt the same thing. Last night, my arm hurts when I wake up in the middle of the night, like something's trying to grab me and wake me up. It hurts like they're fucking really pulling on my fucking arm. It's a really horrible experience. You don't want to ever feel it. It's really bad. I mean, you'll wake up in the middle of the night and you just feel like somebody's trying to fucking pull your arm out of your socket, like Chewbacca. That's how bad it is. I mean, and that's what this thing would do to me. I mean, it also would, it kind of had turned into like a succubus type thing, where it, like, and do that kind of stuff to me. And for a while there, I wanted to do maybe some paranormal porn or something, because it did all sorts of crap to me, if you know what I mean. But I won't get into that, but it was just horrible. I did one time. It was getting so bad, I did get an EVP. It scared the shit out of me. So I kept it on an old cell phone. Unfortunately, I can't play the EVP because it was on this old flip phone. And I woke up one morning and I stepped on it and broke it. So some really good scientific evidence is broken because of old clumsy ass over here. I could have recorded it and gave it back to you guys, and I'm sorry about that. I would have liked to have done it. Listening to that might have terrified me, but just listening to it again. But It was pretty crazy. And I had this one friend that used to take me to work. Used to work with me at the other job, and I forgot to tell you that I caught an EVP once on that. She left a message, and I hear this weird whispering on the phone when she was talking, and I heard it was really so. It was like that for like 5 minutes on the message. It was really weird, but it was, yeah. It got pretty wild after a while. I mean, my mom claimed that she's seen, something in the house that basically had no eye. It was like a woman that basically had no eyes after a while, like her eyes were X'd out or something in a dream. And one time we heard it right in the kitchen. We heard this thing go, just started talking into the kitchen. It was like it was really nasty after a while, and I'd go on the toilet and I would just hear shit jump on the bed and shit. It was kind of terrifying. Like, what the hell, but I eventually, it got really bad. I mean, I was unemployed and I was really getting really depressed I think I was causing some of this energy of these spirits, and it got really bad, and it got to the point where they were just pushing me off the bed. I mean, they were just pushing me around, manhandling me. It was getting really bad, so I called a paranormal team. Well, first I called Chris George. He kind of gave me some tips to fight it, and they helped a lot, but that wasn't enough. So I called this other team, which a lot of people in the paranormal community doesn't really like too much, but I don't care. They saved my life. Their name is the Demon Doctors. They came to my rescue. Well, not at first. They poked and prodded in there. I guess their gig is they astral travel or something, and that's how they clean up the houses or whatever. And they poked and prodded around my apartment, around the apartment or the house, and it really stirred shit up. I mean, really bad. It got really bad. I mean, I didn't think I was gonna live from that. It almost fucking killed me. That's how bad it was. I mean, I think the first time, that's the reason why I called Chris George, because I couldn't breathe. I woke up and I couldn't even breathe. I was having like an asthma attack. This thing like took the breath out of me. Well, this same thing happened to me, like, 10 times worse. I woke up and first I think I was having a dream about this nun, and she was pushing me around and shit. And then I just fought it and went to bed. And one time I woke up, and I just woke up and I was out of breath. I thought I was gonna die. I'm an asthmatic, and I got asthma, and I got like an old inhaler, and I started using that, and that brought me back to life, and I barely came back to life. And I emailed the Demon Doctors. I'm like, what the hell you guys do last night? I was getting my fucking ass kicked and stuff, and they said, oh, we were just checking in on you. And then the next day they finally came, and I guess spiritually, and they took care of the cocksucker and got rid of whatever was bothering me, the nun or whatever the hell it was. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I know Chris George isn't too happy about that team. But in fact, he did a show kind of basically mocking them or whatever. I mean, but I have to say one thing. I mean, he had his opinion about them. They saved my life, and I'm thankful for it. Thank you, Demon Doctors, for saving me from that horrible tragedy, that could have ended up something worse. I mean, after that, everything like really slowed down. I mean, the house was still fucked up. I mean, big time, but not as fucked up as it was. I mean, eventually my it was still messed up. Eventually, some more really fucked up stuff happens, and I'll close it out. This is a really fucking long video. Sorry for my swearing. I'm just just can't believe all this stuff. I'm telling you. Well, this is the last of my really nasty ghost story I need to tell you. Nothing has followed me back ever since. I've been praying and everything else, and this is the last of it here, and I don't want it to ever come back, except for once in a while I'll have an incident like today where I'll feel the archons or whatever on me, and they'll give me a really bad day, and like today's been a really shitty day for me because ever since I woke up with that arm pulling, I mean, my day's gone down to shit, but I'm trying to make a positive thing out of it and try to have a happy day. Hopefully I will have the rest of the night, you know. Well, it's about 10 o'clock here now, p.m. Eastern time, you know. I'm hoping to get this out to you soon. YouTube's slow as hell. The guys at work joke around and say it's because they don't want bad material to be brought on YouTube. That just might be right. Maybe my material is bad, you know. I don't seem to get too many hits, so maybe they're right. But I'm trying, damn it. You know, I'm trying to make a living here. I haven't made anything, but maybe a few bucks. But maybe one day this world will appreciate me and take my story serious, because it's God's truth about what I'm telling you about all this. I have yet to begun to tell you about my true life stories. I've only gotten into you know, a little of it, half of it. I mean, wait till you hear the rest of it. You know, it's pretty amazing. You know, but you know, what was I getting into now before I leave? That's it. Okay. One time I was downstairs and my family heard me yell at them in my voice, and this, believe it or not, this was when they were upstairs. The hallway door was open. I was in the living room downstairs, and I can clearly see them from where I was, and they claimed they heard me yell at them. And I was nowhere near upstairs. I wasn't even sleeping. I didn't even have to work that day, so I wasn't even in bed. So, and it gets a little weirder than that. I mean, the last paranormal thing that I remember happened in that place was my sister's boyfriend claimed he saw. Actually, no, it's not the last paranormal thing. I forgot to tell you. There's some other stuff, but I'm sure you guys won't mind if I make this video a little longer, so I got some really crazy shit to tell you, and you're gonna like this shit. This is worth the extra 10 or 20 minutes, so hang on to your seats. They just started dating. This is like last year, around, believe it or not, this time. Holy shit, yeah, it was around this time of year last year, because they just met, and believe it or not, this is kind of a weird freaking coincidence. Well, anyways, he was over here spending the night, and, you know, I swear to God, I didn't do this to him. I wouldn't do anything. I'm not that crazy. I would not do anything like that to him or anybody. I know my family wouldn't, but he claims something came in and was hiding behind a keyboard. Yeah, tell me that's some weird shit. Yeah, he came in like to greet him, and it basically, you know, came into the room and was hiding behind a keyboard. It's hiding its face. That's kind of creepy. It's giving chills down my spine. I mean, it's kind of creepy ass shit if you ask me. You know, hiding behind an entity, hiding behind a keyboard. But that's not even the strangest thing that happened in my house, and that's what my brother did, the crazy son of a bitch. You know, this won't be too much longer, but yeah, I mean, basically, when she left, I inherited her room, which was Spook Central. You know, that place is pretty crazy. I mean, I got this Millennium Falcon. Well, I don't even know what the hell happened to that thing. I think it's in my other room, but I'll have to show you sometime. Well, every time I would see it, it would be in a different position. Like, the Millennium Falcon would be here the next day, or a couple of days later, it'd be turned like that. and it would be turned like that the next week until it was completely turned 360 degrees around. It was pretty fucking crazy. I'm like, what the fuck is making it turn that shit around? I thank God shit doesn't do that around here. I think it was just in that house. Seriously, that place was fucked. I'm hoping nothing followed me back from that place here, but I have a feeling some of it did. I hope not. God, I was saying now, I hope Jesus Christ and Michael the Archangel keep me safe from all that evil there, you know. And the last craziest freaking thing that happened, actually, yeah, that is the craziest thing. Well, the one thing was there was like a number one on the door, but it came from the sunlight. It was really bizarre. The sunlight. I have a picture of it. I wish I could show you. It's somewhere. I think I have it somewhere in my other phone or something. Well, it's a number one, and it formed perfectly on the door. It was pretty crazy in the kitchen door. But the last thing that I remember, oh yeah, my brother, he claims he's seen when he was in the dining room. He claimed he's seen this woman, you know, basically walk around in the dining room. She's like an older lady, you know. I'm like, I kind of got the chills from that shit. I mean, I don't, you know, at the time I was kind of afraid of the ghosts. You know, I've always been kind of afraid of them. They kind of like fucking give me the chills. I couldn't handle being like a medium or anything. That shit just fucking drives me crazy. And this is the very last thing, and this is the most craziest fucked up thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. I mean, that shit with the ghosts and stuff molesting me and all that was pretty fucked up. The demons or whatever the hell they were, but this fucking shook me to the goddamn core. Now you tell me my life's not fucked up with this one. I think my brother was into the cult or whatever. I don't know why the hell would possess him to do this crazy shit, but he summoned what is called an elemental. And this, if you ever seen, I'm trying to describe what, if you ever played a game called, by Nintendo, it's called Majora's Mask. There's this creature called the Deku Scrub, and this thing looked just like the Deku Scrub, and but more terrifying. I woke up one morning going to work, and I saw the outline of this fucking thing. I shit you not, on the window, and I fucking shit a prick when I saw the fucking outline. And it doesn't end there. I mean, I was just terrified to be in that room because he's summoning these fucking supernatural creatures. You know, I mean, I love him, but goddamn, I mean, I don't know why he's got to fuck with this shit. I mean, the rest of us are trying to make a decent living around here, you know. But anyways, my dad claimed that he heard it hissed at him behind the door, like it made like a snake-like sound. I'm like, I mean, you people don't think that there's fucking weird shit out there, but I'm telling you, there's probably shit out there that I haven't experienced before. And people say there's Mothman, New Jersey Devil, you know, gnomes, fairies. I bet you all that shit's probably real in some form or another, you know. Take your pick. And it's pretty fucked up out there. But I'm a guy that doesn't want any part of it, and I never did, and I got it all. Lucky me. Merry fucking Christmas. I hope you guys had a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoyed, you know, a story from a sane man that must be insane for telling these crazy stories. I mean, I'm only around because they haven't brought the street jackets yet they haven't fitted me with a street jacket. So as long as the boys in the white jackets don't come and fit me for a street jacket, I'll be spinning you and telling you some really good, bizarre, fucked up stories, and, you know, you can have a good time with them and enjoy them, and, you know, and you'd be as terrified of that as I have been since I experienced it all. I mean, I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I'm just a gamer. That's all I am. I like to game and I like to work at retail, and that's all I like to do. I don't like any of this fucking shit, but I can't. I won't lie to you. It has got me interested in it. I've been studying it for a long time because hell, I'm a part of it. I might as well learn about it, right? So I know I have a lot of knowledge. If anybody wants me to drop it on them, be more willing to do it sometime. You guys have a good night and see you next Saturday, Lord willing. If the world doesn't come crashing down around me, say prayers for me because things are getting really fucking crazy around here. Good night, folks. Happy Saturday. Bye. One last thing before I go. Can't say goodbye without saying goodbye to Ted. Say goodbye, Ted. Good night, folks. See you next Saturday, Lord willing, and hope it's a better week next week than this week. Good night. Bye. Stay safe. This has been a Fringe feature movie hour. Good night, everybody. Hello, my name is GVideo34, and a lot of you don't know that I've suffered for 40 years under archonic abuse. Archonic abuse is the abuse of the archons. There's a lot of information on these beings. I just did a show on them. They can really ruin your life. If you feel the need to be free of the archons like I have, please feel free to get a hold of Christopher S. Jacobs. There's other people probably out there like him that can help you in this manner, but I'll leave you the contact information so he can get a hold of you and free you from these evil bastards. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you next Saturday night as always. Hopefully with a cleaner conscience and a cleaner soul. Goodbye. Ghosts, UFOs, monsters, Mothman, Chupacabra, the Mandela effect. This and more you will find at the Fringe feature movie hour. All this and more at the Fringe feature movie hour. I will try to scare the pants off of you. Enjoy. Good night.